Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Shri Ram.
Dandavat pranams.
Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Okay, would you like to share something? This is being broadcast live. So, okay, anybody like to share anything?
I can sing one bhajan.
Okay, 1 minute, let me share my screen here. Yeah. Yes,
Yes, I'll start.
share my screen. Okay.
उदिलारुणा पूरब भागे द्विज मणि गोरा मणि जागे भक्त समूह लयो साथे गेला नगर ब्राजे ताथै भाजेला खोल घना घना ताहे झांझेरा रोल प्रेमे धला धल सोनार अंग चरणे नुपुर बाजे मुकुंद माधव यादव हरि बोले न बोलो रे वादन भोरी मीछे निदा भाषे गेलो रे राते दिवसा शरीर साजे एमोना दुर्लभ मानव देहो पाई की कोरो भावना के हो एबे ना भजिले यशोदा सूता चरमे पुरी बेलाजे उदित तापन होइले अस्ता दीना गेलो बोली होइबे व्यस्ता तबे किनो एबे आलस होए ना भज हृदय राजे जीवन नित्य जन हसार ताहे नाना विध विपद भार नामाश्रय करी जतने तुमी ठाका आपन काजे जीवेरा कल्याण साधन काम जगते आशिये मधुर नाम अविद्याति मीरा तपन रूपे हृद गगन बिराजे कृष्ण नाम सुधा करिया पान जुराओ भक्ति विनोद प्राण नाम बिना किछु नाही कुआरो 14 भुवन माजे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Translation. When the rising sun appeared in the east, the jewel of the twice-born Lord Gaurasundar awakened, and taking his devotees with him, he went all over the countryside, towns and villages. The mridangas resounded tathai tathai, and the jhanja, large metal kartals, in that kirtan played in time. Lord Gauranga's golden form slightly trembled in ecstatic love of Godhead, and his foot bells jingled. All the devotees chanted the names Mukunda, Madhav, Yadav, and Hari, their mouths being filled with these vibrations. They would announce to the still sleeping people, "You spend your nights uselessly sleeping, and your days decorating your bodies. You have achieved such a rare human body, but you do not care for this gift. You remain not serving the darling of Yashoda, and slowly fall through your last moments to death. With every rising and setting of the sun, a day passes and is lost. Then why do you remain idle and not serve the Lord of the heart? This temporary life is full of various miseries. Take shelter of the holy name as your only business. To penetrate the darkness of ignorance and bless everyone's heart, the holy name has risen like this shining sun. Drink the pure nectar of the holy name of Krishna. There is nothing but the name to be had in the 14 worlds. It has filled the soul of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very nice. Okay. I like this line. This temporary life is full of various miseries. Take shelter of the holy name as your only business. So 99% of our advancement comes from chanting the holy name. This is the Yuga Dharma. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranita. So, the more we chant, the better it is. And the good quality rounds we chant, the better it is for us. Okay.
Yeah, we were reading yesterday this verse, Krishna Swadhamo Pagate Dharma Gyani Dibisa, Kalaunashta Drishamesha Puranarko Dunodita, where it says that the Bhagavad Puran is as brilliant as the sun and has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna. So here it says that holy name is also like the sun, and it has come to destroy the ignorance of everyone. Because we are suffering because of ignorance that we think that we are these bodies, and that's why we are spending all our time decorating our bodies and sleeping and giving it all enjoyment, ahar nidra bhaya methun. So that's the cause of all our anxieties, and we are wasting our time in such things. And it's
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and drinking the pure nectar of the holy name of Krishna. I was also remembering that Raghunath Das Goswami, how he says that he feels that this holy name is like that nectar. It's a delicious nectar of name Radha mixed with the condensed milk of name Krishna. And if we add the fragrant ice of pure love, and this is like a charming drink that we should drink at every moment. So that's what the elevated devotees are feeling. That's why they can chant so much Haridas Thakur 192 rounds. They're feeling that it's sweet, very sweet. But we have this jaundice of ignorance, and that's why we're not feeling that taste.
Nice. Ratiti Namanava Sundara Sidhu Muktam. That was
Krishna ki naam adbhuta gada dugdam. Sarvakshanam surbhi raghimena ramyam kritva tad eva piba merisne shudarthi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to just share also a couple of pearls from what we were reading yesterday. The same verse that Mataji referred to, Krishna Swadhamo Pagate, in that Srila Prabhupada writes, as long as we are engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, just like the animals, we're just a royal edition of animals. I really like that point. Human beings are just, in Kali Yuga, they're just like a royal edition of animals. So these are the Pashu, right? And then, but later on in the same purport, he writes that Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita are like the torch bearers for the blind people of this age. So it's actually very, it's such a, it's so, it feels so good to know that Krishna has given this out of his mercy. He spoke the Bhagavad Gita himself, and he has given us this Srimad Bhagavatam also. And also in the previous verse, the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam is it's actually basically you can do anything else, but even Shankaracharya, who spread the Mayavadi philosophy, even he said at the time of death, there's only one thing that will save you. that is Bhaja Govindam, right? Like just say the name of Govinda. All this knowledge, this grammatical eloquence and knowledge of the scriptures, Vedas, right? They're not going to save you. So just do this. So yeah, we're very fortunate to have been given the essence of what it is to go back to God, back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah, and the Mahamantra is like the essence of everything, all the mantras. You don't need to chant this mantra, that so many mantras, but we have been given the Mahamantra. So it has everything in it. So we don't need to memorize so many mantras and like that. Just one mantra. And only the words are also repeating. So yeah, they are arranged in such a way that it captures the mind. It feels nice to chant. So, okay. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. But like there are multiple other mantras that based on like when you get second initiation, you need to chant Gopal Gayatri and so many mantras.
Yeah, but that's only like for how much? 5 minutes or so. You chant. Most of the time you chant Mahamantra. You can only chant 5 minutes, those mantras. Gayatri means 5-6 minutes at the Sandhyas only.
Mhm.
But the Mahamantra
So,
is everything.
so what is the essence of chanting Gayatri? Is it for like say for example to strengthen the chanting of Mahamantra, or it's
Yeah,
just
that's
Guru's
to
instruction?
intensify our meditation on the holy name. Yeah, to make us chant Mahamantra better. But Prabhupada said first initiation is enough to go take you back home, back to Godhead. So the holy name alone can take you back home, back to Godhead, the Mahamantra. But Gayatri Mantra is given. The consideration is that Brahmanas worship the deity. So if you're going to worship the deity or they preach, so that's why the Gayatri Mantra is given. So, but the main thing, most of the time we chant Mahamantra. That Gayatri Mantra is only like 5 minutes at the Sandhyas, and Mahamantra has everything in it. So first initiation is enough to take you back home, back to Godhead. Prabhupada said like that. Okay. Anything else?
I was thinking, Prabhu, like it's a mantra. Like when we chant Mahamantra, it's never get tired. Like even in the material name, if we chant material name, it's like we feels tired. But the beauty of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can chant. One can chant all day and night and never feel tired. I was reminded Rupa Goswami said that if we get he wants like in a million of ears and tongue, then he could relish the spiritual bliss by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So it's all about that, if you're with your purity, pure heart, that's why we do the four regulative principle is there. That's how one can become pure. And with that pure and rapt attention and hearing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can relish that bliss. So yeah, I mean it's beautiful that our acharyas were feeling that ecstasy and that bliss. They even want a million of ears and tongues so they can hear and they can chant all day long.
Yes, actually, holy name even doesn't wait for initiation. There is a verse like that, right? We memorize that word. Akrishti krita chetasam uchatanam jamhasam achandalam amukaloka sulabho vashya shri mukti shriya no diksham na cha satkriyam na cha purusharyam anagikshate mantroyam rasana srigeva falati Shri Krishna namatmakaha. So this verse from Madhya Lila, it says, this holy name of Krishna, Lord Krishna, is an attractive feature for many saintly liberal people. It is the annihilator of all sinful reaction and is so powerful that save for the dumb who cannot chant it, it is readily available to everyone, including the lowest type of man, the Chandal, The holy name of Krishna is the controller of the opulence of liberation, and it is identical with Krishna. When a person simply chants the holy name with his tongue, immediate effects are produced. Chanting the holy name does not depend on initiation, pious activities, or the Purashcharya regulative principles generally observed before initiation. The holy name does not wait for any of these activities, it is self sufficient. That means, it's so powerful that it can give liberation even without taking initiation. That doesn't mean we don't take, but it is. Okay, so that's the power of the Mahamantra. Sometimes we chant this mantra and that mantra, but if we just follow the morning program given by Prabhupada, that's enough. Do Tulsi Puja, do this Narshingarti, whatever Prabhupada has given, Manglarti. So, okay, so let's read something here. Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then as he practices becomes more purified than second initiation, Gayatri Mantra. But the first initiation, according to Jiva Goswami, that is sufficient. Chanting Hare Krishna Mantra, that is sufficient. But still to purify them more, the second initiation, Gayatri is given. So we are created Brahmanas. So Prabhupada says, according to Jiva Goswami, first initiation is sufficient. So the chanting of the Mahamantra. And even Mahamantra doesn't wait for the initiation that we read. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just wanted actually, like, there used to be one initiation, right?
Prabhu, we can't hear you.
Yeah, Prabhuji, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So initially there used to be just one initiation, right? Not two.
I don't know, there was one or two. Maybe Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there was 7th Brahmin initiation. I'm not sure about the history.
So, like, say for example, when we are saying first initiation is enough, so when did this practice of second initiation started? Like, what is the background of it?
That is basically, I think when you worship the deity, then you have to chant certain mantras. So it is mainly given for those who are worshipping the deity. So there's a book on this Gayatri Mantra. But that was only mainly for Brahmanas who want to worship the deities. So that's how they. Yeah.
So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he started the second initiation, like two initiations. Before that, there was only one initiation.
We have to check that. I don't know, but if you are sure, then yes. I don't know if anybody knows that. Okay. All right, so we'll read some verses. Are you sure? Then you can. I don't know if before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur there was no second initiation in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara.
Yeah, I've heard the same.
Okay.
So for the first one was for Harinam Diksha, and the second one is Brahmana Diksha. For as you mentioned, for coming to the standard of being able to worship the deities. Before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there was only one initiation.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. I also read the same.
Yeah, whether you take initiation or second initiation, that's good. You get the mantras from the Guru, but then how you follow after you get the initiation is more important than just getting the ceremony, right? For me, that's like, from the heart, how you take it and how you follow the process and with your heart in it. So that's more important than getting the rituals ceremony. That's there, of course, we have to. It's not like that, but how you implement everything. It's basically you are surrendering to Krishna. How you are surrendering to Krishna and what. Otherwise, I may say I'm first initiated, I'm second initiated, and this, and we may take pride in that. But are we really getting purified at heart? That's the main thing. And are we really following the process? So that's real initiation. Prabhupada says real initiation comes from the heart when you really accept. Yeah. And like he said, my Guru Maharaj practically initiated me in 1922 when I first met him. So when he was defeated by his Guru Maharaj in the argument that we need independence first. Prabhupada was saying we need independence first. Why we have to do this Krishna consciousness propagation now? First, India has to become independent, and then he got defeated. So he said it practically, and then from that time, he decided to dedicate his life to following his Guru Maharaj. So okay, so okay. We'll read one verse, 10, 7, 10, 9. Vimunchanti yada kaman manavo manasi sthitan tari eva pundarikaksha bhagvat tvaya kalpate. O my Lord, when a human being is able to give up all the material desires in his mind, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours. That means there is something we have to do to give up the material desires. Like yesterday we were saying, everything is based on desire. And we can give up the material desires if we want in our mind. Then we become liberated, and of course we go back home, back to Godhead. And we get the same wealth and opulence like Krishna. We get the same form as Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha. We live on the same planet as Krishna. Golok Vrindavan is also very opulent, more opulent than Vaikuntha. But the sweetness is very great in Golok Vrindavan, that it masks the opulence. But so you get the same facility. Prabhupada says if a servant serves in the king's palace, he also enjoys the opulence. So we can be liberated. Basically, this is what this is saying. When you give up all material desires in your mind and you become a pure devotee, when you give up all material desires, anyabhilashita shunyam, then you become pure devotee, and then you can go back home, back to Godhead. So the onus is on us to give up the material desires. Atheistic men sometimes criticize a devotee by saying, if you do not want to take any benediction from the Lord, and if the servant of the Lord is as opulent as the Lord himself, why do you ask for the benediction of being engaged as the Lord's servant? So this question is saying that if the servant has the same opulence as the Lord, then why do you want to be engaged in the Lord's service? Not sure, I don't understand this question very nicely. Lord Sridhar Swami comments, Bhagvat Tvaya Bhagvat Saman Aishwaryaya. Bhagvatva. Becoming as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not mean becoming one with Him or equal to Him. Although in the spiritual world, the servant is equally as opulent as the master. The servant of the Lord is engaged in the service of the Lord as a servant, friend, father, mother, or conjugal lover, all of whom are equally as opulent as the Lord. This is the Achintya Bheda Ved Tattva. The master and servant are different yet equal in opulence. That is the meaning of simultaneous difference from the Supreme Lord and oneness with Him. Okay, so. And we can get a superior position than the Lord in the sense that we can control the Lord also. Pure devotion. So. Okay, anybody like to say on this verse? We can go to the next verse. Any comments? Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Purushaya Mahatmane Haraya Adbhuta Sinhaya Brahmane Paramatmane. O my Lord, full of six opulences, O Supreme Person, O Supreme Soul, killer of all miseries, O Supreme Person in the form of a wonderful lion and man, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. In the previous verse, Prahlad Maharaj has explained that a devotee can achieve the platform of Bhagavatva, being as good as the Supreme Person, but this does not mean that the devotee loses his position as a servant. A pure servant of the Lord, although as opulent as the Lord, is still meant to offer respectful obeisances to the Lord in service. Prahlad Maharaj was engaged in pacifying the Lord, and therefore he did not consider himself equal to the Lord. He defined his position as servant and offered respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Of course, the friends of Krishna, they think not as a servant, but in that friendship also they are serving. Dasya Ras is there in everything. In Madhurya Ras also Dasya Ras is there, because everything is to give pleasure to Krishna. Even the man of Radharani, which seems like, she is rejecting Krishna, is also giving pleasure. Yashoda binding Krishna is also giving pleasure. Krishna's friends chastising or teasing Krishna is also giving pleasure to Krishna. So everything has dasya in it. So, like that verse is there in Chaitanya, that everybody worships me in awe and reverence, but I like that devotee who chastises me. But you have to be that very pure-hearted, to chastise the Lord and be in that kind of situation. You have to be very pure-hearted. Krita Punya Punja, those who are playing with Krishna on an equal level, have amassed heaps of transcendental pious credits. And then they have come to the level of playing with Krishna. So, want to read that?
These verses we read simply, nice ones to memorize. Mora putra mora sakha mora pranapati ei bhave ye more kare shuddha bhakti apane ko bada mane amare samahin sei bhave hai ami tahara adhin. If one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great and considering me his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. सखा शुद्ध सखय करे skande arohan tumi kon bada log tumi amisham. My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, "What kind of big man are you? You and I are equals." Priya yadi man kari karaye bhatsan vedastuti hoite hari hare sahi mora man. If my beloved consort reproaches me in a sulky mood, that steals my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas.
That is Radharani reproaching. Sulky is the man mood. Okay, nice. So, Krishna likes that somebody treats him like equally or even inferior. So, because all the time praising Krishna, says, no, somebody who is very intimate. He likes to, he's raso vaisaha. So, he's the reservoir of all rasa. He wants to enjoy all different rasas. Like when we meet with friends, we tease our friends, right? Sometimes we tease and make jokes. So he likes also friends who will joke with him. Somebody will tell him, do this, do that. But yes, they are very pure-hearted, all those. They are pure devotees. So those who are in the spiritual world like that. They have no material desires.
Yeah, like Lal Govind Prabhu was saying, Krishna, मुझे आप चाहिए, मुझे आपसे कुछ नहीं चाहिए, मुझे आप चाहिए. And then Bhagavad Gita also says, right, yatra yogeshwar Krishna, yatra partha dhanurdhana, tatra shri vijaya bhute dhruva nitirmatirma. Wherever there is Krishna, master of mystics, wherever there is Arjuna, there would certainly be opulence, victory. And like Arjuna had a choice whether to choose Krishna or Narayani army, right? He chose Krishna and he got everything, all victory, all opulence. So, and Dhruva Maharaj also, when he saw Krishna, he said, Swamin Krithatvasmi Varam Yache, you are the most valuable Chintamani jewel, and comparison to you, everything else is broken piece of glass. I just want you.
Yes. मुझे आप चाहिए, आपसे कुछ नहीं चाहिए. So that is the mood of the pure devotee. Okay. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Neikantino me mai jatav ihashisha ashashate Mutra chaye bhavad vidaha tathapi manvantaram etadatra daiteshvaranam anupungshva bhoga. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Prahlad, a devotee like you never desires any kind of material opulences, either in this life or in the next. Nonetheless, I order you to enjoy the opulences of the demons in this material world, acting as their king until the end of duration of time occupied by Manu. So, Prahlad Maharaj is supposed to rule for one Manvantar, so which is 4,300,000 years, 171 Yuga cycles. 71 multiplied by 4,300,000 years. So he's supposed to rule for that long time. Although atheistic men like to enjoy material opulences and they endeavor with great energy to build big residences, roads, cities, and factories, unfortunately, they cannot live more than 80, 90, or at the most 100 years. Prabhupada is saying in Kali Yuga, we are trying to build our empire, but how long we will live here? 60, 70, 80, 80, 90, 100 at the most. Prahlad Maharaj lived for 4 million, or he was ruling for 4 million. So our lifespan is very short, and at the end of the life, everything is gone. But we are working very hard to make our empire. So we have to always think about this, that, then we can focus on spiritual life. We can spend time. Of course, we have to do our duties and things like that. But how long I'm going to be around here? It's not going to be like forever. And in Kali Yuga, so many problems, so many accidents, so many diseases. So life can end. Shana Bhangura. Dehinam, what is that? Dehinam Shana Bhangura.
Durlabha manusha deho, dehinam shana bhangura, tatrapi durlabha mane vaikuntha priyadarshan.
Yes. So in any 1 second it can be finished. So what is what are we going to achieve? When we have to go, at that time it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, because now you have to go and you will have no connection with anything. So this is what everybody has to go. Sooner or later, somebody lives 10, 20 years more like that. But everybody has to pass away from this world. So, first things first, we are meant to become Krishna conscious. Then other things, like one English person, he was saying that things that matter the most should not be at the mercy of those things that matter the least. So, priorities should be set. Of course, in this world, just to maintain a job and all these things, we have to work so hard. It saps our energy, and so much hard work. There is no time, and we have no time for chanting and hearing. Sometimes it's just saps our energy. That's Kali Yuga. So what to do? And sometimes even we can't make our ends meet. There are so many people who are struggling very hard just to have a meal at the end of the day. So at least we don't have that kind of situation. But we should think that if I'm in that situation, what will happen? How can I? When the belly is not full, how can you concentrate on spirituality? Just to survive is a struggle for many people. It's like that. You go to many countries and you see so many people on the street lying and having nothing to eat. So this is the material world. So if we have been given a nicer situation, that means it's Krishna's mercy, and we should just make best use of the bad bargain. Of course, material world is always bad, but whatever we have, and get out of this material existence. Because this material existence, Jivana Anitya Janaha Sar, Tahe Nana Vida Vipada Bhar. He's singing that song. Jiva, know that this life is temporary. Jivana Anitya Janaha Sar. This is Sar. Sar means the essence. So know, Janaha, that this life is temporary and it's filled. Tahe Nana Vida Vipada Bhar. It has Nana means varieties of Nana Avtaram Makarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu. So there are many different varieties of miseries in this material world, and life is temporary. So Jivana Nitya Jana Sa Tahe Nana Vida Vipada Bhar Namashraya Kori Jatane Tumi Thaka Apana Kaje. Kaj means your work or occupation. Take this as the main occupation, to chant Hare Krishna. Take shelter of the holy name as your. So that's the Prabhupada wrote to Jayapataka Maharaj, save time and chant Hare Krishna. So, although the materialist exerts so much energy to create a kingdom of hallucinations, he is unable to enjoy it for more than a few years. However, because Prahlad Maharaj was a devotee, the Lord allowed him to enjoy material opulence as the king of materialists. Prahlad Maharaj had taken birth in family of Hiranyakashipu, who was the topmost materialist. And since Prahlad was the bona fide heir of his father, the Supreme Lord allowed him to enjoy the kingdom created by his father for so many years that no materialist could calculate them. A devotee does not have to desire material opulence, but if he is a pure devotee, there is ample opportunity for him to enjoy material happiness also without personal endeavor. Dharma artha kama gataya samaya pratiksha. Everything is achieved for a devotee. Prabhupada says Krishna wants to look after the comfort of his devotee. In one place he says Krishna. So because somebody who's dedicated to Krishna, then Krishna says, I will provide and I will carry. So if you serve Krishna, then Krishna will look after us. Otherwise also he is looking after us, but through our karma, according to our karma, whatever is going on. Therefore, everyone is advised to take to devotional service under all circumstances. If one desires material opulence, he can also become a pure devotee, and his desires will be fulfilled. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivranya bhakti yogina jita purusham param. Whether one desires everything or nothing, or whether he desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is intelligent only if he worships Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental loving service. So by worshipping Krishna, then our desires will go. Then we'll become pure devotee. If you do Tivra Bhakti, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi kind of Bhakti, if you do, even your material desires, if you do Tivra Bhakti, then Krishna will take away material desires. He is Hari. Hari means he takes away everything inauspicious. Material desires are inauspicious. So he will take away the material desires. Or when the material desires are fulfilled, we feel grateful. Krishna, you gave me so much. Now let me do more for you. And in this way also, Krishna may bring us closer to him. So, Or you may go away also. Prabhupada writes that also in Chaturvida Pujante Mam. That as long, if you have desire for wealth or you're in distress and you go to Krishna and your distress goes away, then after that you may go away until another distress comes. So, like that. But this verse is, Prabhupada is saying here, right? He can also become a pure devotee. If one desires material opulence, he can also become a pure devotee and his desires will be fulfilled. Well, will it always be fulfilled? I don't know. Because other verses Krishna says, why should I give him all these things that he's asking for? Instead, he's asking for poison. So that also is there. Why should I give him poison? Instead, I will induce him to taste the nectar of my lotus feet. So, it depends what Krishna wants to give. Okay. Sometimes
Is
it's
the same
not.
like
Go ahead.
no, where you were discussing, so I will remind that words, Prabhu. Ayur harti ve pumsan udin asthan chayan yenniso uttam shloki vartaya. That is like, by rising and by setting, the sun decreases everyone's duration of life of everyone. So it's and human life is very rare, right? So we are like uselessly wasting our time if it's not properly utilized by self realization and discussing the topic of all good personality of Godhead, because time and tide waits for none, right? So if it's not so simply just wasting of our time, it doesn't it's like it's somewhere in purport, I think in the same verse purport, Srila Prabhupada has written that even a fraction of duration of life wasted, it cannot be compensated by any amount of gold. So we should not waste our time. We should invest our time in self realization and getting permanent source of happiness, which is Lord. There's also a song also, there's a song. भजहु रे मन श्री नंद नंदन अभय चरणार बिंद रे दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे तरहु ये भव सिंधु रे. So this, how rare this human form of life is, and death will take away. As you said, that sooner or later everyone has to die, and there is no. And we should think in this way. We should make so much plans, and everything like house, cars, and everything, the relations, all these things. But when death will come, it's all gone. It will take away by Lord, or somehow it will go away, and we can't take anything with us, even the books and beads, anything. We can't take it. Whatever the devotional service we did in our life, is that's the only thing we will go. So instead of, yes, we have all the duties, but we have to focus more and more on our soul duty, not on those duties which is related to the body, because that is only everyone is seeking happiness, and again happiness in our natural position, in our constitutional position, and in our real home. That's not our real home. Everybody wants to go back home, because we get it, we go in vacation, we can't get any happiness, either 3 days, 4 days, and you just wanted to back home and live freely at your home. So similarly, this is not our home. If we go back to our home with our parents, real parents, so then we can be happy and we can enjoy more. That's yeah.
Yeah, Sanat Kumar says, what is the greatest obstacle? Because to think that something else is more pleasing than serving Krishna. So that's all our situation in this conditioned state. That's why we are not able to give time, because we think there are other things will give me more happiness than self-realization. So we have invested our energies in so many things like that. Maybe money will give me more happiness, or some other person will give me more happiness, like that. So like that we are thinking that some other situation will give me more happiness. So we are running
And
after that. Yeah.
and you had mentioned we were discussing the other day 32525
Hmm.
Pavarga, right? So what is Pavarga? So chanting the holy name, devotional service leads us to Apavarga. And you were discussing about Parishram, right? Like how we over endeavor to make our material situation better. And so it starts with Parishram. We work very hard. And then it's Pa Pa Ba Bha Ma. So then what do we get out of that? Faina. We start foaming at the mouth, right? Like horses who run for a very long time, they have to stop and drink water. Otherwise, we've seen that, right? They get foam at the mouth. So we are also like that. When we work very hard for material comforts, then we are foaming at the mouth. Literally, we are so tired, we are exhausted. And then with that, whatever we get attached to that. So that's bandhan, ba. And then we have bha, which is bhaya, because then we want to secure what we have. We want to just, we develop insecurities because what if this is taken away from me? So we start securing those things. And then in that process, so first is acquiring, then getting attached, and then securing. And before we know it, death is at our doorstep. Mrityu is at our doorstep. So this is a pa varga, right? In the Hindi alphabet, we have pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. And this is the pa varga. And so we often hear this term apavargasya, right? So this this chanting of the holy name and devotional service is the only thing that will lead us to transcend the apavarga, a situation of apavarga. I was just reminded of that as both you and you were sharing, what you were saying in the beginning about over endeavoring. So atyahara prayasascha, the second verse of Nectar of Instruction, warns us against these two things. So prayasascha is over endeavoring, and it's related to atyahara because we have this desire to collect more than necessary.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, so we will continue. It does not matter that you are in the material world. You should always continuously hear the instructions and messages given by me, and always be absorbed in thought of me, for I am the super soul existing in the core of everyone's heart. Therefore, give up fruitive activities and worship me. Okay, so Narsingha Devi said, when a devotee becomes materially very opulent, one should not think that he is enjoying the results of his fruitive activities. A devotee in this material world uses all material opulence for the service of the Lord, because he is planning how to serve the Lord with this opulences as advised by the Lord himself. So Prabhupada, he was saying that whatever money we get, we'll use it for Krishna. Not of farthing should be misspent like that. So whatever we get, we'll use it for serving Krishna. Whatever material opulence is within his possession, he engages to expand the glories and service of the Lord. So Krishna has given it to me, it belongs to Krishna, and I should use it for Krishna's service. A devotee never performs any fruitive or ritualistic ceremony to enjoy the results of such karma. Rather, a devotee knows that karma kanda is meant for the less intelligent man. Although it is in the Vedas, but it is meant for less intelligent man, because it will only take you to a nicer situation, material situation in the material world. So karma kanda. But then when your punya runs out, then again you come back. So Shine punya martya lokam vishanti. Narottam Das Thakur says in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika, karma kanda, jnana kanda, kevala vishara bhanda. Both karma kanda and jnana kanda, fruitive activities and speculation about the Supreme Lord, are like pots of poison. In heaven also there is so much sense gratification, right? You get so much sense gratification. But at the end of it, because we are souls, sense gratification will not satisfy the soul. So that is the point ultimately, that the food of the soul is different than the sense gratification. So no matter how much sense gratification you do, you'll never be satisfied. So rather it will give you misery. Yahi sansparshaja bhoga dukha yona. But this has to be understood very deeply, and sometimes it has to be realized through experience also. So, but we may not be, we not feel it like that. We feel, Prabhupada says, there is some enjoyment in sense gratification, but that feeling of enjoyment is the ultimate enemy. But there is some enjoyment, so we want to repeat that enjoyment, and that's why we there is a repeated sensuous enjoyment, as Prahlad Maharaj says. The fools and rascals are not satisfied by repeated sensuous enjoyment. Kanduti van manasi jam vishaheta dhira. So there's a repeated sensuous enjoyment until we come to realization that, it is. Are there any examples who were engaged in Bhagavatam, were engaged in a lot of sense gratification, and in the end they were dissatisfied? Any kings or like that? Was it King Yayati?
Correct. Yeah.
Who excelled the youth?
Yeah. Sarmishta and what's the other one's name? D. It starts with D.
Devyani.
Devyani. Yeah.
So, okay, so.
Sabri Muni is there, Prabhu?
Huh?
Because I'm not sure is it a perfect example or not, but the Sabri Muni, when he wanted to enjoy sense gratification, he married with how many daughters? I don't know.
50 daughters of King
Mandata. Yeah. So, and then he got frustrated and no happiness in this, and then he took sannyas.
But that's, hearing may not convince us, so we have to actually experience it. So, dharma, artha, kama, and then moksha. Kama after kama, you're saying you get frustrated, and then you say, I want moksha. I'm tired of all this. But that thing is that we have to, if we are intelligent, we will experience it by hearing, but we have to actually experience it. That's why we are in this material world. So,
in that case, Yamacharya also, right? He said that,
correct, yes.
Yamacharya.
He got higher tastes, and so he didn't. Yeah, but so that's
And there's this example of Bhartrahari, right? Very classical example. He was a king, and Vikramaditya's older brother, king of Ujjain, and he was so much into sense gratification. He got frustrated, and then he wrote 100 shatakas, right, on Vairagya Shatakam, like 100 verses on Vairagya. And his experience taught him. But I mean, he wasn't like, yesterday we were discussing about not just by hearing, but he had to experience it. So hearing, seeing didn't help. So he had to really go through the pain, and then he got so detached.
Yeah, that's why even in countries like America, where there is so much opulence, or more opulence than others, there is still frustration, and so. But we need, because our body wants, there is urges of the body, there is demands of sense gratification from the body. So we have to regulate the sense gratification in a Krishna conscious way. So that's the, if we can't, because it's not possible generally to give it up all of a sudden. So you have to regulate it in a Krishna conscious way for most people. But ultimately, you have to come to the point of becoming detached from this sense gratification. If you want to go back home, back to Godhead. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was also thinking this Pururava and the Aila Geet because he wanted Urvashi for his son's enjoyment and she left him. And finally he became frustrated. He wrote Aila Geet, that's in Canto 11.
Yes, we can read that sometime. But yeah, so either the objects of sense gratification or things don't work out the same way you thought it would. So we have three possibilities, right? So, but it's not just enough to know, we have to sometimes experience that, and he experienced that. So like Pingala also, she experienced some frustration. So that's very good sign. Prabhupada writes in that, what is that verse, which Kunti says, Janma Ishwarya Shruta Shripi, that purport, he writes that, yeah, if you're frustrated, that's good. Janma Ishwarya, let's see what, because that will start your spiritual life. If you're happy, then you will not. This is his. Where is this? Where does it say here? The general process is to decrease the degree of fever and not to aggravate it by maltreatment. Sometimes it is said that spiritually advanced persons become materially impoverished. This is no discouragement. On the other hand, such impoverishment is a good sign as much as the falling of temperature is a good sign. Of course, we don't like to become poor, but sometimes this happens, and this is, it's not directly talking about frustration, but yeah, the principle of life should be to decrease the degree of material intoxication, which leads one to be more and more illusioned about the aim of life. Grossly illusioned persons are quite unfit for entrance into the kingdom of God. So, okay, so if there is poverty or something, then Prabhupada says that is good, because that's like falling of the temperature, because of course those who are Krishna conscious, they can have money and they will not be illusioned by the money, and they will use it properly. As Prahlad Maharaj, a devotee in this material world uses all material opulences for the service of the Lord, because he's planning how to serve the Lord with this opulences as advised by the Lord himself. Whatever material opulence is within his possession, he engages to expand the glories and service of the Lord. So this constructing a temple is expanding the glories and service of the Lord, like we have Mayapur temple, we have here Columbus temple. It will broadcast the glories of the Lord, and many people will come to Krishna consciousness, coming to the temple. So that's what opulence should be used for, to broadcast the glories of the Lord and service of the Lord. Many will come and engage in different services to the Lord. A devotee never performs any fruitive or ritualistic ceremony to enjoy the results of such karma. Rather, a devotee knows that karma kanda is meant for them. Okay. Ratam Das Thakur, I think we read this. Prema Bhakti Chandrika, karma kanda, jnana kanda, kevala vishera bhanda. Both karma kanda and jnana kanda, fruitive activity and speculation about the Supreme Lord, are like pots of poison. One who is attracted to karma kanda and jnana kanda spoils his existence as a human being. Therefore, a devotee is never interested in karma kanda or jnana kanda, but is simply interested in favorable service to the Lord, anukulyena Krishna anushilanam, or cultivation of spiritual activities and devotional service. Okay, so comments on this. Okay, so we'll read the next verse. He's saying, give up fruitive activities and worship me. It's like Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. My dear Prahlad, while you're in this material world, you will exhaust all the reactions of pious activity by feeling happiness, and by acting piously, you will neutralize impious activity, which sometimes may be little, because we say by pious activities you cannot neutralize impious activity. Only by bhakti you can neutralize both pious and impious activities. Because of the powerful time factor, you will give up your body, but the glories of your activities will be sung in the upper planetary systems, and being fully freed from all bondage, you will return home back to Godhead. So, as you enjoy in this material world, of course, Prahlad is a pure devotee, so nothing like that for him. But generally, we enjoy, then we are exhausting our punya karma. When we suffer, we are exhausting our sinful activities. So, both ways it is good, because exhausting sinful activity, suffering means your your punishment, you're getting this punishment, and your sinful reactions are getting lesser and lesser. But when you suffer, it's not good. You don't like that. We all want to enjoy. So if you want to, apararabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalam mukham. Karme neva praliyeta Vishnur bhakti ratatmanam. All the seeds of sinful desires and sinful reactions are destroyed by Vishnu bhakti. So that's, even Prabhupada says, yeah, even if you don't like this miserable situation and all the sins, you have a stock of sinful reactions waiting to fructify. So then take up devotional service, because it will burn away. Even if you have that intention that I want to become free from suffering, still take up devotional service. So, because devotional service will not only remove the sinful reactions that we are going to get for our past sinful activities, but it will also remove the sinful desires, right?
It will remove the seed. So removing the just a sinful reaction is like cutting the grass, but the seed remains and it will come back again. Like the ignorance is the cause of all our sinful activities, right? So that ignorance is destroyed, the root cause of the problem.
And Krishna gives us buddhi and all that. It may take some time, but we have to stick to devotional service. And the only thing is we have to become sincere, and we want to purify. We want to become pure at heart. That's basically the desire of the devotee. He wants to become pure at heart. So, and the way to become pure is to engage in devotional service. So, because I want to offer myself to Krishna, but I want to offer my pure consciousness to Krishna. Of course, even if you offer adulterated consciousness, contaminated consciousness, it will become purified. Like we have that, Yas Maret Pundarikaksham, Sabhaya Abhyantara Suchi. How does it start? That whether pure, Om
Apavitra pavitra va sarvavastha gatopi va yasmare pundarikaksha sabhayantara suchi.
So we want to offer our pure consciousness. We want to, but whatever we are, we offer to Krishna, and Krishna will purify. It's also there. Whether you're purified or not purified, just come to Krishna and surrender to Krishna. Krishna says, don't worry, just surrender to me. I will take care of you. Don't worry. So, but devotee always acts to, he wants to become pure in heart. So, because in that pure heart, you can relish bhakti. Like purity is the force, Prabhupada says. So we want to become pure. Purity means freedom from desires for sense gratification. So that is the purity. And that purity will result in Krishna consciousness, bliss of Krishna consciousness. So, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Evam Prahladyasya Shyamshena Sadhana Siddhatvam Nitya Siddhatvam Cha Narada Dvija Jivneyam. There are two classes of devotees, the Sadhana Siddha and the Nitya Siddha. So you can attain perfection either by doing sadhana, you are conditioned and you do sadhana and you attain perfection, or you are already perfect from the spiritual world, you come into this material world. Prahlad Maharaj is a mixed siddha. That is, he is perfect partly because of executing devotional service and partly because of eternal perfection. Thus is compared to such devotees as Narad. Formerly Narad Muni. So we cannot figure this out, because if he is Nitya Siddha, then he is liberated, then how is he doing sadhana Siddha? How is he perfect? Because he is already Siddha because he is pure, coming from the spiritual world. Nitya Siddha means that. But he says both here. Formerly Narad Muni was the son of a maidservant, and therefore in his next birth he attained perfection, sadhana Siddha. Narad Muni before was a Gandharva who was singing cinema songs, and he was cursed by the demigods to take birth as the son of a Shudrani. So he became that, and then he became Narad Muni. But he was a Gandharva previously. Because of having executed devotional service. Yet he is also Nitya Siddha because he never forgets the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. He was also the son of Brahma, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
So I guess from then on he became a Nitya Siddha, liberated soul. But he had a previous life, and that's why he's Sadhana Siddha. Just like Prahlad has a previous life where he was associating with that prostitute, and he did that fasting unknowingly in that Nrsimha temple.
So that from that point he became.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. The word Kushalena is very important. One should live in the material world. Very expertly, the material world is known as the world of duality, because someone sometimes has to act impiously and sometimes has to act piously. So in this material world, every endeavor is covered with some kind of fault. We buy a car and there is some leather in the car which came from the hide of a cow. Right? We can't avoid it. We try to buy non-leather seats and everything, but maybe on the steering wheel there is some leather. What can you do? You have to use a car. Of course, now they use different. So as far as possible, we try to avoid, but there are many things like we are taking medicines which are first experimented on animals, or so many things. So vaccine and all these things we have taken. So you are forced to act impiously, yeah.
Prabhuji, but if the choice is there, like say 2 trims of car is available, which one uses very less amount of leather, another is the high-end version which has leather completely. Do we need to choose the trim which doesn't have leather?
Yeah, I think that's how we should do, because
because I feel if there is no kindness for animals, like say for example cow protection, if they use cow hide. So if we don't have that kindness, we do not have that kindness, so the basic things itself starts to falter.
Yeah, and sometimes because we are thinking about our own comfort, so we are not thinking too much into the we are thinking this leather seat is nice to sit on, but you are sitting on the skin of your mother cow. So if your human mother were skinned alive or skinned after death, they were killed, and they put the skin on your seat, and then you have to sit on that seat. Would you be comfortable? So cow is also like our mother, or is our mother, not like, but so like that we have to see. But sometimes you can't avoid, because even I think there is now man-made material in so many things. There is the fall leather or something.
Fox leather.
Yeah, so that's how we can avoid as much as possible. But toothpaste, soap, everything has animal products. So you have to be careful what you are. So we have to act impiously. And when we walk also, we trample on so many insects and ants. So everybody in this material world, one is forced to act sometimes. And sometimes we are forced to act because the modes of nature are strong. And we are forced to act in a way that is contrary to Shastra. So the modes of material nature also, make us act in different ways. So that's why one has to be very cautious and very careful. And we need strength also. Otherwise, we will act impiously because of our conditioning. So because one sometimes has to act impiously and sometimes has to act piously. Although one does not want to act impiously, the world is so fashioned that there is always danger. Padam padam yad vipadam. Thus, even when performing devotional service, a devotee has to create many enemies. Prahlad Maharaj himself had experience of this, for even his father became his enemy. A devotee should expertly manage to think always of the Supreme Lord so that the reactions of suffering cannot touch him. This is the expert management of Papa Punya, pious and impious activities. An exalted devotee like Prahlad Maharaj is Jivan Mukta. He is liberated even in this very life, in the material body. Okay. So basically, if you dedicate all your services to Krishna, then you are not liable for the Papa and Punya. Then you are walking and you are driving your car or walking and you are trampling down so many ants. But because you are walking in the service of the Lord, then you are not getting a reaction. Same with eating. Because you are eating, you are responsible for even killing plants. So if you don't offer it to Krishna, then you get the reaction of killing plants also. So if you are doing it for Krishna, then it's the only way to become free from. That's why Krishna says, work for me. Yagnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Otherwise it will cause bondage if you don't work for Krishna. So whatever we do, even our job, if we do, because we are serving many people and, like if I'm working in Microsoft or Honda, then they are manufacturing cars and those cars may be having animal products and other ways that those cars may be used for sinful activities. So I am now contributing that. I'm contributing in that, in their company, right? Now you may say Microsoft manufactures computers, but the computers are in themselves neutral, whether somebody can use it for good purpose or bad purpose. But many computers are used also everywhere for sinful activities. So now you are helping them in the company. So you are getting some reaction for that also. But if you are using your money, your work in Krishna's service, then you are absolved from the reaction. Otherwise, everything is binding in this world.
But Prabhuji, it's not 100% pure, right? Even if we say, okay, I'm involved in such work and I'm using it in Krishna service, it eventually gets to you. I can share my own example. I used to do research and we used to work with, in the beginning we did animal experiments and my boss was not comfortable and I was not into Krishna consciousness at that time. So we kind of we finished one part of the project and it was published. And then my boss said, well, I think we should stop this. I was never comfortable with it from the very beginning. Or rather, when he started it, he wasn't also Krishna conscious. So then he became, he got into spirituality, not really Krishna consciousness, but so it just transformed him. And so he started questioning these things. And so when he told me, I thought that was not good for my career, right? Because everybody does these things. You can sustain in research without doing animal experiments, peer pressure, right? So, but then when I took to spirituality, I realized and then everything would start bought. So then we did not do, because he said no, we're not going to continue this project anymore. So that was shelved, and then we were doing other things, but we were using products which are from cows. I mean, really brutal if we really think about it. I don't want to say it. It's really graphic, the kind of things that are used in research. And it started bothering me one by one. And then, so like when we work on cells, right? Cell models. And those cells, to grow them, we have to use the blood of the embryo of a cow. Can you just imagine how bad that is, right? So basically, the sensitivity started developing, and then I told my boss, this is what is being used for cell culture, and I don't feel comfortable with it. So we stopped doing cell models. And then at that point, if I told this to my colleagues, they would say, you're ruining your career. You don't have any future. So, but at that time, we started doing translational research where we were just working with patient samples, biomarker research. And yes, at some point, I gave up my research career also and took to something else. But Krishna actually paves the way. You just have to do that, take that one step, and Krishna won't let go of you. It's not like I'm suffering and I don't have food. In fact, I'm doing better financially than I did when I was doing research. So the thing is that it's just that we have to develop, and it will come. It will come slowly as our hearts are purified. It will come slowly to us that no, this is not necessary. This is not necessary. Just like Prabhuji was asking, do you need to buy a trim without leather? Yes, obviously. If you make that conscious choice, then Krishna will reciprocate. This is just my experience. I didn't have to suffer because I gave up something.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can I say something, Prabhu? Yeah, I was just thinking that I also did my in my school college. My husband is doing research, so I'm thinking like that. If we say that we can't experiment on animals, especially the guinea pig and mice, and they are doing experiment on them. It says that sacrificing the animal. They are not saying killing the animal. So if we took at, if we cannot, even there is a stages of doing, clinical trials, because first is we do on cells and animals, and then even on the last day they do on humans too. There's as a participants, volunteer participants. So if we do not do, and we cannot do, we don't know the nature of medicine, nature of chemicals, nature of how it reacts in the body, then how it's possible that without any experiment on anyone else, we cannot give the medicine or vaccine directly to the humans. So in this case, there will be no possibility of a person alive in this world. And other thing.
Can I just interject there? There's a difference between conducting trials on human beings and animals. So human beings are governed by the IRB. So I've done clinical trials. So we don't, they're protected, and we don't kill the human being. The human being already, if he has cancer, then he's given the drug.
Right.
Yes, but then there are healthy volunteers. But to give to an animal, you first make the animal get cancer, and then you treat the cancer. And then right. At the end, even if the animal is responding to that cancer, and if cancer gets cured, you will still kill that animal.
No, that's right. That's right. But we do clinical trials on healthy human volunteers also. Not only.
Yeah, but we don't kill those people at the end.
But sometimes it's a consent that if they have to sign that consent, because you may die.
Yes.
And you may die, and there are many people. I know some of them who died after that, because they did trials, And after few years, like 1 or 2 years, by that medicine, he got some some side effects, right? That every medicine has their side effects. So he got something, and which is autoimmune, and it's not in the control of that, and he even cannot claim, because and eventually he died. I mean, I know that person. He was involved in that. Uh,
Yeah, but there's a consent there, as you said. He's compensated in some way. You're not doing all that for an animal. And plus, we somehow the whole concept of animal experiments is based on the fact that we are superior and man is superior, and we can do whatever we want with the other creatures. Just look at what we're doing with the environment. What we're doing. We don't treat animals compassionately.
No, I understand. My question is that if we don't do experiment, okay, that's okay. I know in that point of view, it's unfair to do experiment on the animals or anything. We don't have right to kill anyone. But I'm thinking like that, if in that way, if we see if the how many people's got saved by these medicines research, right? Many people's got like saved. If you have some I mean, in 100 years back in India, there's a problem, like, nobody can save when someone got infected with TB, tuberculosis, not even a single person alive. But nowadays, there is no case of they're 100% curable disease right now. I'm just saying is that if we don't do it right, I know it's unfair for the animals, but if the other point, if we see the, like, every coin has two sides, pros and cons. On the other side, that same medicine, that same experiment, they're doing welfare for the, like, of course, the human society. I'm not saying about the animal society, but how will you manage? How will, if everybody leave the research, then what will be the situation of this world?
So a lot of devotees only go for Ayurveda. Have you noticed that?
I know Ayurveda, but Ayurveda is some. Suppose that if someone has cancer, one of my friend, her mother has cancer, and every month she went through an injection, which is 60,000 cost of one injection, and she alive on that injection only, and for like 9 or 10 years. But no Ayurveda is curing cancer for it's a long process, right? It's all
It's not an allopathy either. It just makes your life miserable. You will have so many side effects, and you're miserable. It's really, I mean, it's an ethical question. It's personal, actually. I feel it's very personal, but at the same time, I don't know. Then why did Srila Prabhupada warn us against scientific advancement and always condemn scientific advancement? Because he always wanted us to focus on spiritual advancement.
yeah, it could be. I think, yeah, your point is right. We should go on Ayurveda.
Okay. So, yeah, we all take. So I've taken Tylenol and other medicines. So I don't know. Those are also when we have.
Yes, they have. So I used to have these medicines compounded at one point, very expensive, but because then you can get it compounded vegan, right, without any animal ingredients. But the thing is that you have to really carefully look at these ingredients. One of the ingredients to look for is stearic acid, stearate. Almost all of these will have. Then really to avoid this, gelatin capsules. That's from the pig. Gelatin, anything that says gelatin, unless it says it's from vegetarian source specifically, no. There's so many ingredients in medicines, but nowadays, luckily, the awareness is so much, and there's this big group of vegan people, so they are trying to make a lot of vegan products. We can carefully choose, like you said, toothpaste. You can choose a vegan toothpaste or a vegetarian toothpaste. There are disclosures, like we really, and there's even websites, vegan websites that list what is vegan and okay to use and what is not. It's hard. It's something that people don't want to be bothered with, right?
Yes. And another thing I was thinking that, yeah, we want to live long, but why we want to, all these people who want to live long, are they, are they like living for serving Krishna, or they general? Sometimes we live long and we do more sinful activities, and that actually creates our a darker future also for us. So most people want to live long, of course.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the desire is there to live long in everyone, because we want to live ultimately, but nobody wants to die. But what is the purpose of living longer? That is also something that has to be from the Shastra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all ordained, right? Preordained. Like how much you will live, you will live. I mean, even with Ayurveda, you'll be fine. And the other thing is that Kadambakanana Maharaj's example, like he chose at one point not to give up everything, and he did not even take palliative, like pain medications or even things that could just keep him comfortable. He didn't take anything. Because really, any of these medications, I mean, what happens to people when they are in the hospital waiting for their death in hospice? They're just drugged up. They get all kinds of medicines that just knock them off. Will they be Krishna? I wonder, right? Can that person remember Krishna at the time of death? When you're so knocked out by medicine?
Mataji, Krishna will remember them if they have spent their life in devotional service.
Yeah, I mean, the consciousness matters. Like, why you want to enhance your lifespan is so that I can do more bhakti. And if somebody gets, cancer at an earlier age, in a young age, they would try all their best to, save themselves, save their body so that they can do chanting. Or if they're having pain, they will take to whatever, medicines, allopathic medicines are there to relieve their pain so that they can do devotional service. If they do that, and if that allopathic medicine is coming from animal testing, Krishna knows, so they would not get those reactions. The point is, what is your consciousness, and why are you taking those medicines, why you want to increase your lifespan.
Yeah, sense gratification versus Krishna's pleasure, right?
Okay, so it's 8:30. We can stop here. We'll bookmark this here. Thank you very much for your.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mataji, for letting us know which medicines have those. You said purate, right, Mataji?
Stearate, uric acid, Stearate. It's a very common ingredient. Gelatin capsules you should really avoid. Gelatin from the pig. You can go online and check, like vegan medications or something. There's a website. I'll try to find that and I'll post it on the chat.
Yeah, Mataji, if you can post the Telenol, which is vegan, I mean a brand.
Telenol, I used to get it compounded.
What does that mean? Sorry for our.
Yeah, you go to the pharmacy and ask them to make it for you, vegan.
Okay.
It's very expensive, extremely expensive, if you go that route. But I think maybe